I've been trying to see you all weekend, and every time I went to your booth, you weren't there.
Nice to see you.
Aww.
Thank you for having us.
Wow.
How's everybody doing? This is Bang Zoom's first. Hello. This is Bang Zoom's first time having a presence in New York. So, did you know
Yay, we
that?
didn't know that. Exciting.
And I've never been to New York, so
No way.
this has been magical. Everyone's been so nice to us.
Any first time congoers in this audience? All right, we got the pros. Oh, okay. That's good. You picked a good one to start with. Wow, this show is
Oh, the
amazing.
Your
best.
first time too?
Have any of you, have all of you been to AnimeNYC before?
Mm.
All right.
Yay.
Repeat business.
That's a great show.
That's awesome.
All right, well, before we get into it, we're going to show a quick little video to introduce you to Bang Zoom. So, enjoy.
Nice. Here in the halls of Bang Zoom.
Let's do this! Do you think you can beat me? I can outlast you.
Having overwhelming strength is pretty boring, actually.
Constant plus! Goodbye!
I'm your servant, Saber. I have come in response to your summons.
I can bury you whenever I want.
It's your fault. I tried to bully you back.
Use her before she gets killed!
Hey. Hi. You know Sonic the Hedgehog? She moves me forward, relentlessly, like a heartbeat.
So perfect. Extend me in there. Bring your glove on me.
You see this? What kind of hunter will you be? Exorcist X, Y, or X7?
Aren't they poisonous?
The venom from it won't hurt us if we eat it.
I promise you, my hero will send me here to take you down!
Good grief, though. That was a close call, but we made it. Oh my God!
How many people, I mean, this might be self-explanatory, but how many people are familiar with Bang Zoom?
Yeah.
Everybody? Anybody, is this your first exposure to Bang Zoom at all? Nice. Okay.
Well, awesome.
Awesome. I mean, we're a dubbing studio, localization studio out in Burbank, California. Been in business since 1993. We're gonna talk about that.
Yes,
in a minute.
yes.
And as you see, these are some of the titles we worked on just this year, where you can find, you know, our voices, our work in, from video games to original animation to your favorite anime. And I've had this going, and then we had one really exciting title that we can finally talk about, and I didn't know how to fit it on the slide, so this one. Anybody heard that? And then this is all kind of part of our quote-unquote world tour here at AnimeNYC, but we've been primarily going around the country holding our open auditions. Has anybody attended one of those before? Okay, yes. Yeah, there's some lovely friends in the back over there. But we've hit up these cities, and then our next stop is Anime Frontier in Fort Worth, Texas. AnimeNYC is the same con that runs that, so you'll see us there, and then that will conclude the world tour. Until next year, when we have more exciting stuff for you guys. And then, of course, I wanted to know Rani Okada, our casting director and co-president. She couldn't be here this weekend. She got pulled for a very exciting project in Japan that we'll get to talk about one day soon. So I promise you there's a good reason she's not here. But she misses everybody and she wishes she could have been here. Okay! Yeah! Here's a lovely guest.
My mom, the person he was talking about, has cast every single show that you've seen there. Like, she's
That's
really
right.
amazing. So all the actors that you've seen in all the anime you love is because of Mommy.
Yes, and she's been with Bang Zoom since the very beginning with the founders, Eric Sherman and Keiko Sherman, who are the founders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys want to quickly introduce yourselves?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Sandy Fox. I've been a voice actor over 34 years. Some of my original titles, you might know me from Magic Knight Rare. I voiced Lady Asta, but I sang all the music from Magic Knight Rare. Also, the opening theme song for Rurouni Kenshin, Freckles, that was me. Also, many titles at Bang Zoom that we're going to talk about today. Haruna and Durarara. But also, you might know me today as the voice of Chibiusa and Black Lady and Sailor Moon. I've also voiced Hello Kitty for the Super Cute Friendship Festival North American Tour. And Betty Boop, I'm known as the modern voice of Betty Boop, so I've done Betty Boop for commercials and television and like all the modern toys and everything. I'm currently voicing Vern in the Grand Blue Fantasy Games and the anime series. And the rest you can look up on IMDb. We have a lot to talk about today.
That was a flex.
My name is Lex Lang, and I have been a voice actor. I'm in my 31st year of voice acting now. I've done almost 600 characters in the last 31 years across video games, Western animation, and anime. And I'm also a voice director. I've directed a bunch of shows and games, both for Bang Zoom and for other clients. And one of my first big roles, we'll talk about this a little bit too, was for Rurouni Kenshin. I played Sanosuke Sagara in Rurouni Kenshin. And then currently, most of you who've seen Jujutsu Kaisen know me as Suguru Geto from Jujutsu Kaisen. And then Shaku, for those who are up to speed now. But yeah, it's been awesome being a voice actor, and I'm sure we'll talk about a lot more of this stuff. But yeah, it's, I love coming to these conventions for two reasons. One is to meet all of you because we share a love for this media, and for the different shows that we're all fans of. And when we do anime, we work by ourselves, right? We're in the booth by ourselves, and there's a producer and a director usually guiding us through the process. But it's really coming to these conventions and meeting all of you that fills our hearts up. I always say we come to the convention and our schedule is full, and when we leave the convention, our hearts are full. So that's how I feel, truly. So thank you for being so wonderful, and thank you for friends like this.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, I just want to say, I talked about it in my panel the other day, was that anime would not be what it is without all of you. You are the driving force. Unlike other parts of the entertainment industry or Marvel films that have giant studios behind it, you guys have made AnimeNYC what it is today and the whole industry what it is today. And it's why more people get to see it and they're streaming it is because of you guys. So give yourselves a hand.
And because of your support, it's enabled studios like Bang Zoom and Studiopolis, Magnitude 8 and that to make better quality things and have better studios and better microphones. We're going to talk about how the origins of what we used to record in and how it used to be. We'll get to that, I think. Yeah.
I know you guys are kind of going into this a little blindly. I have a little bit of a guide for you guys. But then you guys have full control after that. And I forgot, I didn't even introduce myself. My name is Rhett. I do the marketing, social media, and live events for Bang So anytime there's Bang Zoom not inside of a booth, that's usually me orchestrating.
Nice.
So, yeah.
And all those fun videos.
Yes. Thank you. I put you on the spot the other day to be in one.
Oh, that's
Any content. Okay, so I think that there are three kind of foundational titles, and we're going to talk about if you had involvement in them or if you didn't. I think there's one maybe you guys didn't, but we'll explore it, and I think it might jog your memory a little bit, bring you back to 1993 when the company started. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, so the very first one, I believe this was the first anime that Bang Zoom ever dubbed. Is anybody familiar with what you're seeing on the screen? Ninja Cadets? There we go.
Maybe.
Many of you were not born when this came out.
That's true. And content was only available on VHS.
Right.
And we would have little tiny conventions where everybody would trade and
Like
buy and
underground,
sell
I
VHS.
got a ninja cadets. What do you got?
I have a clip from this featuring
Okay.
your voice, Sandy, but before I get into it, what was it like for you how did you get involved? How did this start for you?
I don't remember exactly. I mean, I was with an agency in Hollywood. I was working on The Simpsons. That was one of my first jobs when I got to LA. And I did a movie, Land Before Time. That was another first job. It was The Secret of Soros Rock, and I played little Dinah to Nancy Cartwright's Dana. But I got a call because my voice is high and cute to audition for this anime for Kyoko and Eric, and it was Ninja Cadets. So we were recording in a little tiny guest house garage, and with a microphone, and it was just not even a laptop, but we had a computer. We didn't have beeps, a lot of the technology we have today, and it was my first dubbing experience. So in dubbing, what they do is they take the Japanese title, and then there's a writer that is translating, direct translation, and then they hand that off to another writer.
An English adaptation, right?
English adaptation, and then they make it fit in the flaps. So we have the script in front of us, and we have the screen in front of us, and we're reading the script, and we're acting in this time slot. So numbers are flying by because normally, what we have today are 3 beeps. Do you want to do our 3 beeps?
Yeah, so basically when we have these things called the beeps, many of you have heard of them, there's 3 of them. And we start our line, because now it's all digital, we start our line on the 4th beat. So it'd be like, doop, 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 hello, right? So that's how we do it, it's all timed out. Back in the days Andy's talking about, we did not have beeps. We had a time code spinning, so it had a minute, an hour, a minute, second, and then frames. So on our paper, let's say, it was hello, good morning. On the paper, it would say, at 1 hour, 13 minutes, 4 seconds, and 22 frames, you have to say, hello, good morning. So you're looking at spinning the fastest spinning you can imagine, 24 frames every second, right? You're just trying, okay, 67, you're trying to go, and it was much harder. And back then, we didn't have digital anything. It was being recorded on tape, right? And then eventually we went to digital tape, which is called DAT, right? Digital audio tape. But there was never any oh, that was a great performance, we'll slide it over 3 and it's in the pocket. Or we're just gonna stretch it. You did a great performance, we'll use a time compression or expansion, we'll just spread it. That's what we do now, so that you can just do your performance and you don't have to worry about the placement so much. Especially if there's a good English adaptation writer. But back then, it was, you had to hit that. And if you didn't hit it, if you were off by 2 frames, you had to keep going and keep doing. And it was really nerve-wracking.
It is a skill. It is a skill for an actor and a voice actor. So I walk into the studio and I don't know what dubbing is, and I am the lead character in Ninja Cadets. But I remember Eric always saying, Sandy, you were just jumping off a cliff, you always, and I think that's my improv training years of improv and stage, and you just jump into it fearlessly, and you're okay, if I don't get it right the first time, I'm gonna do it again, and I'm, keep trying. So I was very, very nervous. I had a lot of anxiety, but I also had so much fun because this was a new genre, of work for me. And I think all of us voice actors that started in those early days, the directors have gotten better, the writers are better, they write into the pocket of the flaps, and as actors we've, improved so much because it's we all grew together.
And the pressure's off for hitting sync so perfectly now. We can just perform, and then the performance gets put where it needs to be put. It's funny that one of the first, I was in Ninja Cadets too. I also played 2 of the main villains. And back then, when they were doing different productions, Mommy would call and say, okay, Lex, you got the part of this, but we also want you to play 5 other parts. And so it was very common to play 3, 4, 5 characters in a show.
Yes.
Where now, every single character gets cast differently. There's a different actor for every character, which is great. But very common to play at least 2 characters, main characters, in a show when we were cast back then. And the funny thing, when we were doing Ninja Cadets, it was in this garage, right? And the ceiling was slanted, and the way the mic was set up, I'm just about 6 feet tall, right? But the slant was like 5'8", right? So the mic's here, and I'm like crouching down next to it. I'm like, can we move the mic a little over so I can actually stand upright? And then one time, we only recorded one show in this particular garage. One time, my mouth accidentally like touched the mic, and it wasn't grounded, so it was like, I was like, okay, don't touch the mic.
It's like the most challenging, like, dubbing and hardcore extreme experience ever. And you kept doing it.
It was jumping off a cliff.
We wanted
Jumping
more.
off a cliff.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so for those of you who haven't watched this show, I have a clip of it that kind of, it's Danny's character, and I think it highlights your talent, and the character that you played I think is really special. So we're gonna play another video, or the first clip of this. So enjoy, and I hope you enjoy it.
I guess that makes me the winner today.
No, I'm afraid I'm the winner.
Excuse me? I believe I'm the one who finished him off.
Don't be stupid. It was my last punch that finished him.
So, you're a big loser. A big loser.
What did you say? Didn't you happen to notice I just saved your life, Matsuri? If not for me, you'd be dead.
What? Give me a break. Anyway, Sakura, you cheated by using a dummy. I would have gotten him way before you if you hadn't done that.
Huh? Hold on. We decide whoever killed Sumiko first would win.
I see. So little Sakura isn't capable of winning without cheating.
You liar.
No, I'm not, cheater.
Can you imagine them doing that in a tiny garage and they were looking at this script and how it came out like that? It's amazing.
How many years is this? Like
30 something.
34.
Yeah.
It has to be 34. I started animating 34 years ago. Thank
That's
you.
absolutely incredible,
Yeah.
given the conditions you were put in. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all that. So there's another title. Now let me know if you guys have been involved with this one. This one is very special to my heart. Okay, this was the first OVA that Bang Zoom ever dubbed. It's called Fate. It's about these 2 NYPD policemen that go on like an excursion, a vacation, and they're kind of in love. They're kind of fighting it, but they're trying to take a break together. But then they get involved into this like murder mystery at this mansion. It's very wonderful. But this one's important to me because Bang Zoom starting out as a company, taking a title like this, an LGBT title.
Yes.
And we've come a long way since then. But they actually honor the original script. It's not, to me, it's not offensive. And I think seeing them doing work like that early on when nobody even knew the company or no one was doing it.
That's right.
Is really important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Unfortunately, with these titles, there's nowhere that you can watch them at the moment, but there are DVDs and VHS, and you didn't hear it from me, but this is on YouTube, so. For now, it might go away, but if you're interested in watching it, and if you want to see, the quality that they put into this one, I have a clip for it as well. So, I love this one.
The towel?
Thank you.
back some eyes.
I'll go with you.
You better wait here in the room.
Ah, come on. I need to walk off the alcohol anyway.
Is somebody there? I see. This must be what Reese was talking about.
Hey, Rio. What are you doing down here, Rio? Why are you shushing me? Tell me what's going on.
Hey, D, don't push me. Come on. Hey, watch it, D. Knock it off.
Who are you?
Yep, that's the gist of it. Do you guys recognize those voices?
You know the voices or?
So one of them, this is what confused me. The lead is credited as Sandy Lane, a combination of your two names.
Oh, maybe it was you, the guy with the dark hair.
Oh yeah, maybe. Could have been.
You tell me.
I thought for a moment it sounded sort of like me. One of those lines. I was like, one of those sounds kind of like me.
Yeah.
It sounded like me.
Yeah.
I knew I could pull one.
That's
on you.
crazy.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I don't remember all of them because there were so many.
Yeah.
So many,
yeah.
right?
I was looking at a list. I could tell you this list. You can tell me which ones you know. But there were like, I looked up like 50 titles, and I think Sandy and I were in like 38 of them or something. You know. So there was Magic Knight Raider, which we've all heard of, right? Rurouni Kenshin, Nightwalker, Midnight Detective. Anyone seen that one?
Yeah, I was Goonie, the little.
Right. And I was the main guy in that. Risky Safety. Sandy was Risky Safety.
With Michelle Rock.
Argento Soma. Anybody know that? Van Dread.
Yes.
Yeah.
Highway.
Mahuro-matic. Stride. We're in all these. Chobits and Pete Guy J, Gun Frontier, Mirage of Blaze, I directed that too. The 12 Kingdoms, I don't know if anyone saw that. That's a great show, 12 Kingdoms, yeah. Witch Hunter Robin, anybody ever check that? We're in all these. Gadgard, Gungrave, Last Exile, Sayuki Reload, and Sayuki. Yeah, know those, okay, cool. Stelvia, Fafner, let's see, New Ghetto Robo. These are all ones we were in. Sayuki, more Sayuki. Samurai Champloo. Doraemon, IGPX, that was a good one too. Immortal Grand Prix, right? Let's see, more Sayuki. Lucky Star was one we were in. Yeah, and then it goes on Durarara, Alnoa Zero, Fate Stay Night, Fate Zero, East, Idol Project, Apocalypse Zero, Ninja Cadets, of course, is in there. Gestalt, that was another pretty cool one. X-Driver, anyway, the list goes on, but it was interesting because for that first maybe 10-year stretch, we had like this revolving cast of maybe 20 voice actors that just went through, you know. And everybody knows Bryce Pappenbrook, right? Well, his father, Bob Pappenbrook, was really the groundbreaker for that. He was one of these members. He passed away, unfortunately, but he was one of like these core members. It was Wendy Lee. I don't know if you guys know who Wendy Lee is, right? Leah Sargent was another one of the names, right? Kirk Thornton, Richard Cancino, Michael Sorge, Steve Kramer, Richard Epcar, Julie Magdalena, so many, but there were like 20 of us that literally were like a revolving cast, almost like a summer stock. Oh, there's a new show. Who's going to be cast out of these 20 people into this show, you know?
Yeah, but it's amazing that those are all Bang Zoom titles.
Right.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool.
You mentioned Julie, and we can't do this panel without mentioning Julie in this fabulous title. This was Bang Zoom's first anime series that was dubbed. And you guys were heavily involved in this one.
Yes.
Yeah?
We dubbed all the music. So Eric came to me and he said, you know, you sound like the Japanese singer, and we want to dub the music. And so they gave us the direct translation, and then Lex and we took the translation because at that time the technology was not as evolved, and the background tracks of the songs were married to the soundtrack that I sang to. So we had to write the lyrics that sounded like the Japanese. And that was really challenging. And we did that in a guy's living room with a keyboard. And so it's not perfect, but it was fun. And a lot of people loved the music of Magic Night Raiders.
I don't want to subject you to anything, but can you listen to it?
Yeah, let's listen. Please listen to it.
All right, one more video, and this is gonna showcase, the hard work that you put in and how great it turned out.
Hold on to that dream. Tomorrow knows where and when. It's true what you believe. Don't let go. The road will never the deep blue sea, it turns to crimson shade. A wonderful free fall. I just want to have the wind take me far away. I've hit impossible hurdles before, but I know that there's more, and I know I can make it. Loosen lane when it's time to dance. Then I'll never hold on to that dream. Tomorrow knows where and when. It's true what you believe. Don't let go. The road will never end. Keep trying to believe the biggest part of you, and then you really is gone.
Also, before Pro Tools and Big Shift and all the other stuff that happened.
I mean, for the 90s anime, it's so hard to come by those titles with a quality dub.
That's right.
Es-
Yeah.
Especially the more, obscure ones and stuff like that, that didn't always get that treatment. And of course, when they were bringing anime over and putting them on Cartoon Network, it was heavily edited, changed. And, I wanted to ask you, Sandy, because you are the new Chibiusa in Sailor Moon.
Yes.
You kind of carried that torch or corrected the wrongs almost. But it's interesting because you guys were involved in such important titles that really shaped the way that we view anime now.
Yes.
And created that fan base. And you guys were going upstream a little bit with that, right?
Well, it's such an honor to be cast as Chibi Moon, Chibiusa, and Black Lady in the new Sailor Moon dub, because first of all, we found out that Naoko Takuchi cast us. The creator chose this cast, each and every one of us. And I'm getting chills. Such powerful series. I call it the Star Wars of anime. It reaches you on such a prime level, but the messages that are in that story. And so when it aired in the 90s, Deke Entertainment did the dub, and it was on broadcast television. And of course, there were so many rules, and they cut out so much of the story, and they made Sailor Uranus and Neptune cousins, which was weird. And so I'm just so proud to be a part of this title that embraces the true story, not cutting any part out of every relationship and every diverse character in the universe, which exists in our universe and more. And I want to share one of my favorite scenes. One of my favorite scenes is Chibiusa. Was when Sailor Uranus gets out of her helicopter and she gets into her convertible, and Neptune comes over and they hold hands in the front seat. And Chibiusa's in the back seat, and Uranus kind of looks at me in the rearview mirror, and Chibiusa's blushing. And she's like, oh, they're in love. And I want every little kid to see that. and to know that that's life, and you know, love is love, and here it is, you know, we're all human, it's part of our humanity, so that's really special to me, that, and really Shar was instrumental with Viz Media, and really, you know, heralding that project to its fullest potential.
I'm literally thrown off right now.
And that Magic Night Rare was a great example of multiple roles. Like when I got cast, they were like, okay, you're gonna play Zagato, who's one of the main guys. Has anyone seen Magic Night Rare? A few of you? So you're gonna play Zagato, you're gonna play Ray Earth, you're gonna play Wyndham. Zagato has a brother named Lantis, you're gonna play him. You're gonna play 2 other characters. So it was like, okay, great, I got 6 characters on this show. It's pretty fun.
When you guys were dubbing those shows back then, and then you're seeing shows like Sailor Moon, Pokemon going on, you know, broadcasts and stuff like that. Did you feel connected to that at all, or what was your guys' perspective of anime when you were doing it at the time? What was that like for you?
I think for me, it felt like it was really becoming mainstream when Pokemon, and for me, Digimon, because I played Wolverine. When Digimon had that movie that came out, I think it was in 2000, 2001, that felt like, wow, this, what they used to call Japanimation. Like when we started it was underground Japanimation, but like it actually got the name like anime at that point. And then we were seeing movies come out, you know, like for a movie to be in a theater, like the Digimon movie to be in a theater, that was incredible. It felt like, oh, it's arrived. And there was a big climb in anime for a while, like for 10 years. It just was climbing. And then for about 4 or 5 years, it just like went not down, but they started sending the titles to Canada, and the budgets were no longer any budgets. So it really looked like anime was gonna be over. Like it felt like that as the actors who were performing it, it was like, okay, well it was a good run, we had like 10 years of good anime, and now all of a sudden it's just gonna dip. But something happened a couple of years into that dip where it started getting traction again, and then the streaming services started coming out, and then the moment the moment the internet happened, anime, you know, all of us who love it started climbing again, and now forget it. Like the Demon Slayer movie that's coming out in September is you know, poised to break all the box office records. You know, like theaters sold out in like 2 minutes. Like every theater, it's already sold out like 50 million in just local, domestic sales. You know? So that's a huge, you know, it just went straight up.
And anime's outselling in theaters mainstream movies and films. So and also one of the other shows we worked on together was Transformers. So that was like a classic, you know, anime that wasn't Bang Zoom, but we got to see ourselves on TV. But normally, to answer your question, we never got to see ourselves in the finished project unless we somehow they gave us a DVD copy or we were able to obtain it. So like you said, we didn't really have that instant feedback or excitement as we do today. It's like, oh, we're streaming on Netflix, you know, Sailor Moon.
We didn't have Crunchyroll.
But that's a great question.
Yeah. I mean, what other kind of challenges as voice actors did you guys have to overcome? Because I mean, there used to be more of a stigma behind it, you know, of anime and taking that as a serious, you know, media. And now you guys are here. What was that like, you know, shaping you guys as actors and getting roles in other things that weren't anime?
Well, I'll start. I worked on a show, As Told by Ginger. We did 100 episodes. So grateful to be cast in that show with all the amazing actors. But at that time, I remember I was very new in those rooms in Western animation, and I remember other actors like, oh, you do anime. Like, you know, like it was kind of known as like the background actor dubbing kind of community. It just didn't have the weight. I mean, we fought for better pay and we flipped so many titles to go union. And we fought on our back end to legitimize it. and to get better quality, you know, so the studios as well, the 3 studios that brought it over. But yeah, it's still, you know, but now they're seeing the numbers, like Lex said, they're seeing those numbers in the theater, and everybody's taking it seriously.
Yeah.
And now with digital recording, the performances can shine.
Yes.
You don't have to worry so much about like trying to hit those flaps as much, you know. And because in early anime, there were a lot of dubs, and I'm not going to blame Canada, okay, but up in Canada, there were a lot of dubs that were just really crappy, like the bad acting, bad singing, bad everything. So people who watched the dubs at first were like, dubs suck. You know, like, that's what they thought.
Oh, dubs versus subs.
Yeah, and most of the time it was like subs, you know, dubs versus subs, you know, at all the conventions. But then, as like Bang Zoom, when they started to produce really high quality dubs, then the tide changed a little bit and it turned towards people going, wow, the dubs are really good. The dubs are starting to get great, you know. And
Now
that's,
celebrities want to do anime.
Sure do.
I refuse to comment.
There's a lot of things we can't say because it's under NDA, so. But you'll see soon.
I say, there's so much that we can't talk about that 10% of my DNA is NDA.
I mean, apart from voice acting, I mean, when you guys were doing these dubs, you had, you know, more control than other projects. I know you guys were, Alex, you directed a lot of these projects as well. What was that dynamic like as you were figuring out how to voice this stuff? What was it like directing the other person to do it?
Well, by that time you were writing too.
Yeah, well, initially we had to be the directors were hired to be the English adaptation writer and director. So I get just the plain, you know, translation from the Japanese, and I have the time code. I type out the time code, and even though we had beats, I'd still have to type the time code out because the engineer who's working the beats and has to place the beats has to see where the time code goes so that the beats fit, right? But yeah, it was interesting because when I started directing, it was right in the digital side, the Pro Tools and that sort of thing started happening. So my primary focus was like, let's get the performance right. Like, let's just get the performance right. And I had the advantage because I've been a voice actor already for so many years that the other voice actors trusted my guidance. Like they go, he knows what it's like on the other, we call it the other side of the glass, you know, because we see a little window and we see the voice actor inside the booth, and we're on the engineer, director, producer side where all the technical stuff's going on. But they trusted that I knew what was their perspective, you know, so we had like a shorthand that we could talk in terms of like the acting style, the process, and the performance notes. That was really helpful. You know, I think as an actor, it helped me a lot to have already been an actor for a long time before I started trying to give guidance on acting. I think it's important.
Yeah, and you were in the studio a lot with like AnimeNYC, or the producers from the studios in Japan would send a producer. Like even in Durarara with Bang Zoom, we had Hiroe, who passed away, but she was a wonderful producer from AnimeNYC. But you know, they're in the room working with the director, so it is a very technical skill, both for the director and the actor.
Right.
Yeah, but like Lex said today, it's so much easier for the actor, because one, in anime, we don't get to see the script ahead of time. So we're just blindly going in there. We're lucky if we get to watch the anime before, but we really don't. And we completely surrender ourselves to the director. So example, you know, I might be on page 3 and I'm doing my scene, and then we fast forward to page 50. So the director has to inform me what's happened in between, what's happening with my character now, and then we record.
Another thing that was very challenging in terms of recording anime was the pronunciations.
Oh, yes.
Because they would give us like they call it a Bible, like the pronunciation Bible, which is like all the different names, all the different, you know, prefectures and all these things. And depending on what you're directing, there could be a lot of them. And I was at one point directing a show called Mirage of Blaze and the 12 Kingdoms, I think, were at the same time. So I was directing 2 shows. And one of them had a 23-page pronunciation guide, and the other one had like a 12-page pronunciation guide. And it was really challenging because you wanted to have the performance, but then there are these names that would just throw anybody at everybody, right? Oh, I made this little funny thing. I want to play it real quick. Have you guys seen Pirates of Penzance or heard of it? There's a song that's well known in that show called Modern Major General. You know, I am the very model of a modern Major General. You know that song, everybody, right? Well, after doing this Mirage of Blaze and 12 Kingdoms and having like 50 pages of pronunciations, I put together this little tune.
These are pronunciations from a major modern anime. I didn't make them up, these are what all the actors had to say. Some took them several takes and others got it right away. Well, nonetheless, as you would guess, it would have been quite frightening. Surely news little nutty to Sakamoto Days. Sakamoto Days, Sakamoto Days, Sakamoto Days, now it's just here we go. There's Hatayama, Maruka, Kisaki, Yamato. Hatayama, Maruka, Kisaki, Yamato. Hatayama, Maruka, Kisaki, Yamato. Hatayama, Maruka, Kisaki, Yamato. There's a couple of packaging of Tsunaka and the Galley. Hatayama, Hatayama, Recipe and Hori. I'm a total calling myself, I'm probably more because I need pronunciation for this major moment anime. I'm a total calling myself, I'm probably more because I need pronunciation for this major moment anime.
Sunday morning live.
I don't even understand any of those names over this little mic with my phone or whatever, but it was really complicated.
And now they can just pull a ref in the booth and be like, how's that pronounced? And then it just plays
That's
back.
it, exactly. Now they record each one. It's not like a big page thing where we have to have the phonetics of it all. They just like have a recording and they go, bring up Uesugi real quick. You know, is it Uesugi or Uesugi? You know, like.
Well, that's a good segue into talking about advice in the now times. How many people out here are like aspiring voice actors or into that?
Oh, nice.
A lot of people.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
But looking at where you've come from, the hardships you've had, and like you said, it's so much easier than it was then. What do you now offer to voice actors? Like, what is advice for them breaking in? You know, it's much harder to break in, but also it's a whole different scope than what you guys have.
You guys got it made.
Yeah, I'd say it's much harder, but it's much easier. You know, there's both ends of the spectrum. First of all, I know Bang Zoom has an acting studio with Tone Adventures in Voice Acting with Tony Oliver. I want to shout that out first, and you guys should definitely check that out. Also, our friend Dee Bradley Baker put together a very comprehensive website called iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. It's easy to remember if you want to be a voice actor. And he goes through sequencing and studio etiquette and equipment and all kinds of valuable information. But I think the first and foremost thing is to be an actor. You know, you're breathing life into these characters, and a lot of times you're creating characters on the spot, especially in video games. You'll be cast as one character, and like Lex said, you're playing 2 or 3 other characters. You'll be shown an image, and they're like, okay, you have to create the voice. Here's a little bit about them, but you have to create the voice. So another advice I always give is improv. Improv is so valuable. I wish they taught it in every school. I think it gives you the courage and the confidence to jump fearlessly into the unknown and to do it and have fun. Have fun and play and use your creativity. So that's what I would say.
And I would say, make sure you love doing it. You know, if it's just because someone said, oh, you have a quirky voice, or you'd be a good, you know, voice actor. If you don't love acting already, then say thank you, I appreciate the compliment, but you know, don't do it because you think you're going to make a bunch of money, because you don't make a bunch of money as a voice actor in anime. Right? You don't. If you work on Western animation and it's under like a SAG contract, that kind of thing, you make more money, but it's not like you're going to, you know, buy a mansion by being a voice actor, you know. So it's really for the love of it, like do it for the love of it. And that website Sandy mentioned that Dee Baker made is also great, that iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. And not just to look at for 10 minutes and go, oh, okay, I see what he says, but dissect it and make it like your roadmap for how you want to build your career, because it's really, really, really good. I want to be a voice actor.com. And I always tell people, if you can't remember the name, then you don't want to be a voice actor. Just follow your bliss, follow the love of it, and just keep taking classes. I mean, I've been doing it over 30 years, and I still am watching classes. I'm still taking classes. I still do. It's been a couple of years because of COVID or whatever, but I would take like live scene reading classes, like scene study, because any teacher that you can get information from is great. And just keep your studying going as long as you want to pursue it. It's always important to do that.
Absolutely. There's a lot of technical stuff to it, but like you guys said, you gotta love what you're doing and just put acting forward, and then the technical stuff can come later, right?
Yeah, get a laptop. You can, for $100, you can buy a little microphone, like a USB mic that's a decent mic, usually. And on that I Want to Be a Voice Actor site, there's probably recommendations for all kinds of microphone and studio setup stuff. But then just start, doing it with your friends, create characters. We all have a phone in our pocket. Most of them have voice memos, right? You can leave a voice memo. I'll be driving in my car and I'll think of a voice, I'll be talking like this all of a sudden for some reason. I'll be like, where can I put this voice? Okay, I'm gonna just put it to, it's a little bit a bubble voice, so I'm gonna record it real quick. And then later I might reference it as something that, hey, maybe this will work for some character, or it could be a deep or high voice, whatever,
Yeah, and Lex and I have taught voice acting, everything you wanted to know about VO classes at cons. And we talk a lot about, maybe it is an anime you're interested in, maybe you love books, and you love to read books, and you love, creating those characters within the book. So audiobooks is also a way to be a voice actor. I mean, there's many pieces of the voice acting pie that we call it. So practicing reading out loud, going and volunteering and reading to kids at the library, but reading out loud is also a good way. And then there's commercials, which is completely different. Especially today, commercials have changed a lot. So you want to listen to those commercials most likely in between your YouTube videos, because it's much more natural and, everyday person kind of read now. It's more fun
and kind of when we started, there was no voices in video games, right?
Yeah.
There was no, because they only had like 8 megabytes that they had, they put stuff on. Now it's like, 100 terabytes per game. And there was no anime. There was very little to do in the voice acting field, and now there's so much to do. Yeah. And with it being so easy to have your own microphone and a laptop and a very simple digital audio recording app or whatever, you can just play. You can create stuff with your friends. You can do so many fan things that it's really amazing. You have that advantage. We didn't have that when we started. It was just like, okay, go in, do the character cold. We're going to show you a picture real quick. We had no practice tools except for like a cassette tape,
Yeah, and also you either had to be in New York or LA for this kind of work. And then Texas kind of started up a big community, and that's not where Crunchyroll is, right?
Yeah.
Texas. But the great thing is now you guys have access to being online. Adventures in voice acting, you can begin your adventure online. So you can take that home equipment and you can start learning online. There's also voice.masters. Also, they teach commercial and regular animation.
Steve Bloom has Blue Box Studios.
Blue
That's a really good
Box.
thing too. Yeah.
I think Tara Strong has a new platform of voicelings. So there's a lot of opportunity to learn and explore. I call it explore because you have to see what really calls to your heart and then follow that.
And thanks to COVID, we can do it remotely now too, you know what I mean? It used to be like you have to be in that city to do it, and now you can just have a home setup where, you can do anything pretty much.
And there's even our open auditions, which we don't have this year, but if you guys let AnimeNYC know that you want us to come next year for some open auditions, maybe we can, because we want to travel, we want to see all of the voices that are around the country, not just the voices in LA, and where you think they might just be at, because everybody, they're all around the place.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's really opened the door wide. I mean, Zach Aguilar was one of the first winners of your open contest. Yeah, and look where he is
And I directed
today.
him in his first big role too.
Was that
Yeah.
Zero?
Almost Zero, yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have a picture of do you have that cast picture or no? It's on your phone.
I'll post it on the Bang Zoom store today.
Tell them what your social is.
Oh yeah, we're at Bang Zoom on pretty much everything. TikTok and YouTube is Bang Zoom TV, but it's pretty easy to find Bang Zoom.
When we did I'll Know a Zero, I had the pleasure of having a brand new cast of voice actors. And most of them, I mean, Zach had never done anything, but most of them had only done one, maybe two titles at that point. But it was Zach Aguilar, Christina V, Erica Harlocker, Erica Lindbeck, I think I want to say Zeno, Matt Mercer. I mean, it was a lot of people who now are like at the top of the game, you know, so many years later. And that was a show where they all were kind of just getting their start, like their very first break. And they were all so good. I went to Mommy after the show was done, and I'm like, you got a good crew here. Really throw them in some stuff here because they are really good, you know, really talented. And look where they've come. I mean, all of them are like incredibly well known now. Yeah.
Thank you guys. So I think we have some time for questions. Exactly. I'll come down here, and then on the screen over from our sponsors, I prepared a QR code and discount for just you guys here, and we seats for studio merch if you need water bottles.
That's cool.
Oh, okay. There we go. I was gonna come down, but that works too.
There's a mic right there in the back. If you'd like to start a little line.
We have just a few minutes,
Oh,
so we'll try to
fine.
get through as many as we can.
Okay, cool. And just your name and the question would be great.
Hi, I'm Misha Bakshi. I'm a Canadian actor.
Represent.
And I've been working a lot in prelay animation and doing a little bit of dubbing for non-Japanese media. And what is some of your advice for kind of breaking through from doing like work in other forms of voice acting into anime?
Get as much experience as you can as a voice actor. And then, whether it's Bang Zoom or Studiopolis or whatever, you know, find out the basic contact information via email. And just write them, you know, like it's really easy to find emails for any of these production companies. But just write them and say, hi, I'm interested in being on the radar with you guys for auditions. Please can you put me on your audition list? Here's my demo. You know, have something that you can show them that's representative of what your skills are. Because if you don't have anything like that where they can actually reference it, usually a quick link in an email that they can just click and write to your demo, that's the best thing. If you don't have a link to it, you can just attach like an MP3 or something. But they really need to have some representation of what you're able to do. Because if you just write them, I want to be in your anime, it's just going to be like delete. You know, they're not going to do it. But if you show some professionalism and just say, I've been voice acting for a little bit on these other mediums, and I want to break into the anime world. I'm familiar with dubbing, and please can you put me on your audition list? Mommy and other casting people from these different companies are happy to do that.
I also want to add on to that, take a class, because then you're in the room with director Tony Oliver, you're in the room with Mommy, you're in the room with Bang Zoom.
Get in front of them.
If that's the studio or any other casting director that holds classes, you get that time with them, and they get to see your skills.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
Your speed round.
Hello, my name is Liam Jerez, and I'm also a voice actor as well.
Nice.
I went to the Anime Expo open auditions this year, and I went to Anime Frontier last year in Texas. And I auditioned for you guys, it was so fun. I'm just so happy you guys are here in New York, and I've always wanted this city to just break out, you know, in the anime space more. I was wondering, since you guys are, you know, here now, kind of dabbling over here, do you guys ever think it's possible that Bang Zoom can have a studio maybe here in New York or Jersey or something like that?
That's for you.
Well, that's an idea I love. But I'll tell our CEO, Eric. Eric is from New York. He's a New York native, so I know he would be warm to that. But I guess it all comes down to, you know, budget and the need, and I I think it's a possibility. I think that would be great.
And I'll mention another shout out to another great studio that's in New York, NYAB.
I work with them.
Also, you know, the one that has done Pokemon with Lisa Ortiz, but NYAB is based in New York. So that's also a great studio if they happen to have classes, I don't know, but just a place to learn is in New York, NYAB. They do a lot of Gundam Seed, and a lot of the featured Studio Ghibli films.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Not the most confident answer, but I love that question actually.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Oh, I see Benjamin expanding.
Me too, and then maybe I can relocate and live here because I really love it. Hello.
Hi, sorry. I'm Gabriel. So I have a question about translations and localization because I grew up in Mexico and the Team Rocket model was modified over the time. Like during the years they started with the normal Team Rocket model and they started adapting it to Mexico. Like they would change the ending or like they make comments or jokes and things like that. So I wanted to know like how much flexibility do you guys have to do those kind of things? Because as when I was growing up in Mexico, I found it very cool to be like more connected with my Mexican culture when they were translating things than with the Japanese culture. But at the same time, I feel like you don't want to erase that Japanese culture because that's also why we watch anime.
Well, so a lot of the time they would translate and adapt and edit for the culture that they're going to, the country they're going to. But I will say this about Bang Zoom, they really try to keep it true to the original form. Like they were saying, okay, it'll go to Mexico, but we're going to honor the Japanese version and the translation, and we're going to, some things don't translate. There's certain Japanese little things culturally that just don't translate, so they change those a little. But for the most part, they want to really stick to the storyline.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
That's a great question.
That's a good question. Yes. So you will see in different cultures, they've changed the ending, they've edited something out, they've completely done it differently. But for the most part, Bang Zoom is on top and staying true to form.
And that kind of comes down to the Japan teams as well. That's what they want, and since we're just helping them, make this product for them, we don't really always get the say in that. But sometimes they can be a little bit more lenient, but most of the time not. Hello.
Hi, my name's Matthew, and first I'd just like to say thanks to you two for all the voices you've done over the years. They've been great. I was born in the early 90s, so I was kind of the golden age of the anime at the time.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Now, my question is kind of a spoiler thing, so I was
Oh,
wondering if
no
maybe
spoilers.
I was wondering if maybe you could give us like a sneak peek or like a heads up of any new anime coming out that you guys will be voice acting for.
What's coming up for us, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, the one thing I can say that's coming up for me is the show One Punch Man. Season 3 is coming. And there's an arc in it called the Monster Association arc for anyone who follows the manga. And I play a character named Flashy Flash. And so Flashy Flash is going to be right in there with doing a lot in this season, from what I heard.
Perfect for you.
I'm on the Vern train right now. Vern and Grand Blue Fantasy, Grand Blue Rising, Grand Blue Versus. So it's been over a 2-year project, but we keep updating the game. So I'm super excited. There's a couple new games coming out, but I can't talk about them yet. Thank you, though.
We're doing a super speed round. We have 1 minute. So this is the ultimate speed round here.
Alright, so hello, my name's Enoma. So I was wondering that at Bang Zoom or just double studios in general, are voice actors and writers assigned to projects, or do they just take them by themselves?
Are they allowed to what?
Are they assigned to projects?
Yeah, are they assigned to projects, or do they just ask like, for a certain project?
99% of the time, we audition for stuff. We're not just assigned to things.
But the writers and
Oh, the writer and the director are assigned to it. They reach out to the writers who they know who work and the directors who are good. That's mostly
Typically hired freelance for writing and directing. I don't know if every studio follows that method. But at least in LA, it's mostly freelance, so you're able to take on different projects at different studios at once if you're able to handle that,
But the actors will audition 99.9% of the time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Looks good. These last three quick.
Hello, my name is David. I was wondering if you would ever think that something along the lines of a ghost story stuff would ever be possible again.
I want to say it is possible with the popularity of anime, and I think Japan can see, how Western audiences react to certain shows. It could happen.
I don't know if there's anything planned at all. But
Yeah, nothing planned, but I would love to work on it.
Fun.
Just something totally abridged would be amazing.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Hi, my name is Beth Pierce, and I'm a voice actor, shameless plug. And I was going to ask you, when you're directing, what do you look for of the actors in auditions? What stands out to you the most?
Well, in the auditions, Mami Okada for Bangzoom, she does all the casting. So I think what stands out for her is, that's really the question, right? But as a director, when I have the actor in the studio, I really want them to be able to take direction. Because sometimes actors think they know everything, which they don't. And a lot of times in anime, the director knows the entire story and all the subtle beats that should happen. But the actor comes in and they only see their 20 lines or whatever, so they get to the one line and they're like, this is how I'm going to deliver it. And it's like, well, that's not how it is delivered in the story. That has nothing to do with what the storyline is. So as a director, I depend on the actor to listen to what I'm going to tell them to do. And I try not to give them line reads or like how to do it, but I'll just say, it's more important to have this emotional content in the delivery of this line, because here's what's happening in the story. And if they resist and they're like, no, I'm going to do it my way, I think it's a better way, then usually at the end of that production, I'll sit with Mommy and say, me personally, I don't want to work with that actor anymore because they think they're the director and they're not. And in fact, as a director, I will often go into the studio on the first day with the entire producers and everybody that's there and say, okay, you guys are the producers, I want to hear all the feedback you guys give, but this is my room. When we walk in here, I'm at the top of the totem pole. You guys are, officially the super top of the totem pole, but when it comes to getting the performances, I will listen to what you have to say, but my word is the last word in this show. And that's basically what I do, because I want to be able to have like the end product represent the very best that I can get from all the actors, from the engineer, from all the people who I have sort of, influence over in that. So what I'm looking for in the actor, I know it's long, that's why I said Steve now. I want the actors to just be flexible and be willing to be molded in whatever character they're portraying.
Thank you.
Final question.
Hi, my name is Celeste. I feel like one of the biggest hurdles about acting in general is finding representation. Do you guys have any tips on like getting representation and finding an agent?
Yes, go to iwanttobeavoiceactor.com because D. Bradley Baker talks about that. Also, it's really important that you don't get a level of representation before you're ready, because you don't get those opportunities. Once you fail or you just don't know what you're doing, and you have to be informed and you have to be at a certain level to get that kind of representation, because you want to be successful and it's setting you up for success. So I definitely say go to iwanttobeavoiceactor.com.
Also, don't put the cart before the horse.
Yes.
So like, get experience, get a lot of like practical, doing of voice acting, right? And then at a certain point, every voice actor has had to face this. You have your day job and you have voice acting. And at a certain level of experience, here's the day job, here's the voice acting, gotta keep the day job, gotta keep the day job. Now the experience levels are coming up, and then you have to make a decision. Am I gonna fly? Am I gonna jump off this cliff and do voice acting as my primary? I might have to, scrimp and save a little bit because it's not quite bringing in what the day job is bringing in. But at a certain point, you'll have to transition and say, okay, I'm going to take the leap of faith and hope that when I jump, the wings are there and the wind is there beneath them.
Yeah.
And like, I can remember very specifically, does everybody know Kari Waldron? Does everybody know who that is? Okay. She's a very well-known voice actress. And she does everything, like Western animation, anime, everything. I remember I was in the Bang Zoom lunchroom with Kari, and she was sitting there. I just directed her on something, and she was sitting there, and she was like, God, I gotta go on. She was like a waitress or a hostess somewhere. She's like, I gotta go to my job. And I'm just, I want to just keep doing voice acting. I said, Kari, you know what? You have the talent. At a certain point here, you're gonna just have to quit that job and focus on your voice acting. And shortly thereafter, she quit the job and she just focused on voice acting. She really was focused on doing her best in the studio, and then she got, the word was out that she was good. And then roles started happening more and more, and she never looked back.
And keeping track of all of your work, no matter how small it is, and having that compilation, because that's your calling card to show to an agent, because they're, you know, they need to see your work in a reel, like a small reel.
Yeah, but don't worry about getting an agent right away. Just like keep doing the work, keep doing the practice, keep doing as many VO things as you can. Develop your demo audio piece, whether it's an MP3 or a tape or whatever. Like, just don't try to get ahead of yourself. I need an agent now. No, just like get all the experience, then you finally have your demo, and then submit to different agencies and see who'll pick it up. You know?
And I also, one more thing, start locally. Start locally. I lived in Orlando for 11 years. I had an agent in Orlando before I moved to LA. So if you start local, you'll be able to gain more experience in that smaller market. Well, you guys are in New York, but yeah, but if you're in a smaller market, that can help get you experience too.
Yes.
And do we have a photo? You guys want to get a photo? We got the longest part.
So yeah, we'll do a selfie thing, but we'll point backwards, and you guys can all be right here as part of this panel.
And thank you so much. We're going to be at our tables
Oh yeah, come down and say hi
until
to us.
5.